General Ouyang, how are you? Ouyang Zhixiong's face looked confused for a while, and his eyes looked dispirited, but after a moment, his body twitched suddenly, then grabbed Hushi's wrist. Haoshuan. Haoshuan, my son. Hushi's bone made a creaky sound being clutched by his blood-stained hands, but her face did not show a bit of pain. She just said with a calm expression, General Ouyang, rest assured. I have met Ouyang Haoshuan, he let me rescue you. Haoshuan is fine. Ouyang Zhixiong didn't believe it, and he asked with a hoarse tone. Feng Yunjing, let him go? Hushi nodded and said, Ouyang Haoshuan was injured, but I will heal him. It's great. The hot tears fell from Ouyang Zhixiong's eyes with despair and hope. Miracle healer she, please save him, make sure you save him. Hushi only felt sour in her heart. She held Ouyang Zhixiong's hand and said in a hoarse voice, You can rest assured about that. I was able to heal his meridians previously, so this time I can still save him. Thank you. At least Haoshuan can be saved. That's great. Ouyang Zhixiong's face showed a gratifying smile, and the initial vitality that appeared slowly disappeared again. Miracle healer she, it's great that you can accompany him. I want you to tell my son. Sorry that his dad and mom can't stay with him anymore, leaving him alone. However, he still has you fortunately, Hushi said in a deep voice. General Ouyang, please don't say that. I will find some ways to save you. No. I'm going to accompany Shangyun. Ouyang Zhixiong said softly in a hoarse voice. Shangyun has always been timid and afraid of loneliness. I'm afraid she will be waiting alone in the afterworld, and she will be sad. I am going to accompany her. I promised her to always be with her. Young Master Shi, thank you. Ouyang Zhixiong reached out and pulled out a black wood carving from his arm, shoving it into Hushi's hands. He said softly, It's really good that I can see you before I die. I have nothing to repay you. This is Zhenwei Army's commander's seal. Although the Zhenwei arm nominally belongs to the army of the Jinling royal family, in fact it is actually my private army. They only follow my command. Young Master Shi, you can take this seal. Together with Haoshuan's identity, you can mobilize 100,000 troops. I'm entrusting Zhenwei army and Haoshuan to you. Feng family. Ouyang Zhixiong's body twitched, then his eyes turned white again. You must revenge on Feng family for me dash. As soon he said that, he suddenly lost his breath, but his eyes were still staring, his eyes full of hatred and unwillingness. Hushi sighed softly, closed his eyes for him, and put his body into the storage ring. As she spread open her slender palm, there was a black jade carved into the shape of a magical beast. The word Zhenwei was inscribed below the jade. This was the seal that could mobilize 100,000 Zhenwei army. General Ouyang gave this army seal to her was to repay her kindness, and on the other hand, he wanted her to ensure his son's safety. Please go to https://www.novelupdates. cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. Because even if Zhenwei army was Ouyang family's private army, if she wanted to mobilize 100,000 troops, it was definitely not enough to rely on a piece of jade seal. Only Ouyang Haoshuan's identity and General Ouyang's seal could truly mobilize 100,000 troops. Hushi put the commander's seal into the space. Without thinking more, she turned and left the cave. However, just after walking out of the cave, her complexion suddenly changed. Immediately afterward, in the dark mountains ahead, a dazzling light lit up, illuminating her solitary figure. Feng Yunjing's somber voice came slowly from the open space. Shiyu, do you have to go against our Feng family every time? Hushi narrowed her eyes and looked at the man who came out slowly under the light. She sneered. You might as well ask you, Feng family, why do you always do something that is too abhorrent, and I always encounter it? Feng Yunjing's eyes suddenly froze, and a powerful spirit pressure came. Where is Ouyang Haoshuan? Ouyang Haoshuan? Hushi showed a surprised look. She frowned as she spoke. I was just going down the mountain and inadvertently entered this cave. Then I saw the tragic death of General Ouyang and Mrs. Ouyang. Just now I was still thinking who was so heartless that they actually tortured General Ouyang and his wife to such a terrible state, and even killed them. Hee hee, now I got it. It turned out to be you. This kind of cruel thing is really the style of your Feng family. Hushi watched the eyes of Feng Yunjing and others full of disgust and contempt. You didn't even let the weak Mrs. Ouyang live, and you even did such beastly things to her. Feng Yunjing, Ouyang family, what kind of hatred do you have with them? You even want to kill the women and children? Your Feng family is so heartless. Aren't you afraid of being condemned by God retribution? Hushi questioned loudly. Her expression was furious, and it had a bit of shock and doubt. There was no flaw in her eyes. Feng Yunjing felt a little moved in his heart. He frowned. You really don't know where Ouyang Haoshuan is? I am the one who wants to ask you where is Ouyang Haoshuan? Hushi said sharply. You killed General Ouyang and his wife. Are you even going to kill Ouyang Haoshuan? Did you kill him yourself, and now you pretend to not know where is he? When Hushi spoke that, Feng Yunjing's face became more and more ugly. A black-shirt man soon came around and whispered anxiously, Young master, we have gone through every inch of the foot of the mountain, but we still can't find the trace of Ouyang Haoshuan. Several other black-shirt men hurriedly entered the cave, searched around, and shook their heads toward Feng Yunjing. Ouyang Haoshuan seemed to have disappeared out of thin air in this world. A black-shirt man trembling voice sounded in Feng Yunjing's ear. Young master, could it be that Ouyang Haoshuan broke through our enchantments and escaped with his weird cultivation? As soon as he said this, the anger and fierceness in Feng Yunjing's eyes could even raise a storm. Feng Yunjing's ice-cold gaze looked at Hushi. He sneered. Shiyu, I don't care if you are hiding Ouyang Haoshuan. Since I can't get Ouyang Haoshuan, at least it's good to get you back. After he said that, he waved his hand. The black-shirt men rushed forward immediately and surrounded Hushi in the center efficiently. Hushi sneered. Feng Yunjing, but it is still within the scope of breaking Spirit Mountain. Don't you forget that there is a consensus among the 4 major sections. You can't kill anyone during the big hunting match. Please go to https://www.novelupdates. cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. You actually dared to kill General Ouyang and Mrs. Ouyang at the foot of Breaking Spirit Mountain. And now you even say that you want to kidnap me? Aren't you afraid that the other 3 major sects will condemn you, Feng family? What a joke! Feng Yunjing sneered. The people and things that Feng Yunjing asks for, I will always get them. He is only a general of the Jinling Kingdom. He is just an ant in my eyes. So what if I kill him? What can the Jinling Kingdom do to me? As for the other 3 major sects, do you think they would go against the Feng family for you, Shiyu? Shiyu, don't dream. His eyes narrowed slightly, and he slowly walked forward. The falcon-like gaze fixed on Hushi, as if he was going to swallow her. Shiyu, this time, you came to deliver yourself to me. Then you don't even think of escaping from my hand. Oh, is it? Instead of panicking, Hushi smiled lowly. The smile was full of provocation and contempt. Feng Yunjing, do you dare to speak those words in front of these people behind you again? Feng Yunjing's face changed suddenly. He suddenly turned around and he met Shunsen's ambiguous smiling face. Behind Shunsen were the disciples of Qingxia sect, as well as Emperor Shangguan Wenji and Prince Shangguanqi of the Jinling Kingdom. Shunsen's cold eyes looked at Feng Yunjing and slowly said, Young Master Feng, I just heard you say that you killed the General Ouyang and his wife like you are just stepping on 2 ants. I don't know if it is true. Feng Yunjing's eyebrows frowned slightly, and he glanced at Hushi with his eyes full of anger and coldness. He snorted coldly, then he said lightly, Elder Shen, don't you think you are bothering others' business too much? Whether it is Ouyang Zhixiong or Shiyu, it seems that they have nothing to do with your Qingxia sect, right? Shunsen's face sank. He said fiercely, they have nothing to do with my Qingxia sect, but Master Feng, don't forget, big hunting match has regulations that no one can be killed during the competition, let alone in killing anyone in the Breaking Spirit Mountain. This is the rule we set together. Does Feng family want to break the rule? Feng Yunjing's eyes sank. He suddenly said, Elder Shen, did you see my Feng family killing anyone? You accuse me of killing people just based solely on Shiyu's words. Do you Qingxia sect really think that our Feng family is easy to bully? Shunsen's expression looked stagnant. He indeed did not see Feng Yunjing killing anyone. However, without waiting for them to speak, Hashi suddenly took a step forward and took out the General Ouyang and his wife body from the storage ring. Her movements were gentle and solemn, as if she was handling a fragile porcelain. However, when she opened the white cloth covering General Ouyang and his wife, all the people present took a deep breath. The broken body, the bruised scars, the broken limbs, each of them seemed to be telling the pain and torture that the General Ouyang couple had experienced before they died. Even Shangguan Wenji couldn't help but exclaimed, "Sir Ouyang, how could it be?" Hashi stood up. Her cold eyes slowly looked at Feng Yunjing and the black-shirt man behind him. The clear and cold voice echoed clearly in the silent night. "I accidentally went into the cave, and I saw this scene already. Mrs. Ouyang was dead, but General Ouyang still had his last breath." As soon as Hashi said that, Feng Yunjing's expression suddenly changed. His cold eyes stared at her deadly, as if he would rush over to break her neck if she said one more sentence that she shouldn't say. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. Hashi didn't even look at him as she just looked at Shen Sun and others. General Ouyang said before his death that the people who tortured them were the people of Feng Yunjing and Feng family, and he said that Ouyang Haoshuan was also in their hands. He begged me to save him. Young Master Feng said that you didn't kill them. Then let me ask you, why are your men with their faces covered appear here in such a late night? Speaking of which, Hashi's tone was full of resentment and hatred. Her voice was trembling. Killing them is not too much. I really can't understand how did General Ouyang and his wife offend you that you had to torture them like this. Feng Yunjing, are you still a human? Hashi's words quickly aroused the public's indignation. Everyone's eyes looked at the Feng family's people with disgust and hatred, because General Ouyang and his wife really looked so miserable. Especially Mrs. Ouyang. Even if the Ouyang family really offended the Feng family, it must not be related to Mrs. Ouyang. But looking at the marks on Mrs. Ouyang, she was treated like a beast before she died. Such a vicious, cruel act could no longer be explained by the law of nature of the immortal realm. Feng Yunjing was relieved to hear Hashi's words. He secretly thought that Ouyang Zhixiong only cared about the life and death of his son before he died, and he had no time to tell the truth. As long as Shen Sun and others didn't know about 5 Elements Spirit Pearl, sooner or later Ouyang Haoshuan and 5 Elements Spirit Pearl would be in the pocket of their Feng family. Feng Yunjing's dark and gloomy eyes swept over Hashi's beautiful and delicate side face, and the hands at his sides clenched tightly. Once again, Shiyu slipped away from his hands again. If Shen Sun comes later, even if he couldn't find Ouyang Haoshuan, he could at least take Shiyu back to let her be his own woman, and let her serve the Feng family. But now all this was obviously impossible. In this trip to the Breaking Spirit Mountain, the loss of Feng family was almost incalculable. Thinking of this, Feng Yunjing's expression became more gloomy and terrifying. However, when facing the Qingxia sect and Shen Sun, even if he was unwilling, he could only endure it. He took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "I admit that I killed General Ouyang and his wife." As soon as this remark came out, everyone suddenly went into an uproar. However, Feng Yunjing turned the thread of discussion and said in a casual tone, "But I didn't kill Ouyang Zhixiong intentionally, but I want to eliminate the traitor for the Jinling Kingdom." What? An unbelievable shout broke out from the crowd. Even Shangguan Wenji and Shangguan Qi were shocked. They were unable to understand what Feng Yunjing meant. Feng Yunjing raised the corner of his mouth coldly. His eyes looked arrogant. Ouyang Zhixiong held 100,000 elite soldiers, but he tried to rebel. I was entrusted by Shangguan Wenji, the Emperor of Jinling, to capture the traitor, collect evidence of their crimes, and take back the commander's seal. However, Ouyang Zhixiong was cunning. He refused to confess his no matter how, and he didn't want to take out the commander's seal, so I had no choice but to kill him. As for his wife and son, committing treason is enough to exterminate all related families. Mrs. Ouyang and Ouyang Haoshuan should be dead too. I kill them to eliminate the danger of the Jinling Kingdom. What is wrong with that? As he spoke, he looked at Shangguan Wenji with cold and threatening eyes. He slowly smiled. Emperor, don't you think that is right? Shangguan Wenji turned his head and met Feng Yunjing's cold, evil eyes like a viper, and his body suddenly trembled. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. His eyes glanced through the bodies of Ouyang Zhixiong and his wife on the ground. They looked so miserable and so sad. This was the minister who was most loyal to him. He held 100,000 troops to protect his Shangguan family. Today he was killed by Feng Yunjing in a simple sentence that he had committed treason. And he still wanted him to admit that Feng family was killing the Ouyang family for Shangguan Wenji. This is going too far. Feng family is going too far in threatening me. Shangguan Wenji's body was trembling violently. His lips kept opening and closing. He tried to speak, but he couldn't spit out half a word. It wasn't until Feng Yunjing's eyes revealed a murderous intention that Shangguan Qi caught his father's hand and stepped forward. Feng! Young Master Feng is right, Ouyang family committed treason, so he and his family should be executed. Feng family killed the Ouyang family. It was helping our Shangguan family to remove the traitors. Our Shangguan family is grateful for that. As soon as Shangguan Qi said this, Feng Yunjing immediately smiled. The black shirt men of Feng family also showed triumph in their eyes. As expected, the royal family of such a small country, Jinling. How dare they offend our Feng family? It was just a general who died. If King of Hell was not in town, what if the Feng family directly destroyed Jinling? Shen Sun and others looked very ugly. Even an idiot could see the absurd and ridiculous reason for Feng Yunjing's murder. He didn't even intend to cover it up. However, the affirmation of the Jinling royal family made them have to give up on pursuing the case. Coupled with the power of the Feng family, no one wanted to go into conflict with the Feng family for just a Ouyang family, so this matter could only go unresolved. Since there is nothing wrong, then we Feng family will leave first. Feng Yunjing took a deep look at Hushi. Then he greeted Shen Sun casually, and left quickly. Hushi took a long sigh of relief as he watched Feng Yunjing and others walked away. After relaxing for a while, she only felt a cold spine as if she had just stepped out from the Hell Gate. When she met Ouyang Haoshuan a while ago, she sent a message to Shen Sun and asked him to come to the foot of the mountain. Now it seemed that fortunately, she was decisive at the time. Otherwise she and Ouyang Haoshuan would have fallen into the hands of Feng Yunjing. Hushi carefully retrieved General Ouyang's body into the storage ring. Shangguan Wenji's shuddering voice stopped her. Please return Sir Ouyang's body to me. I will surely organize a lavish burial. Hushi looked at him with a sneer. Her eyes were full of disdain. Lavish burial? With what identity? As a traitor? Shangguan Wenji, won't you feel shame to say this? Shangguan Wenji shuddered as he heard the words. And Shangguan Qi shouted fiercely, Impudent! What are you? You dare to talk to my father like this? Who are you again? Hushi hadn't spoken yet. Shen Qingchua stepped forward, pointing at Shangguan Qi's nose and yelling, You can't even protect your general. You let the Feng family show off their power in front of you guys. You accused General Ouyang as a traitor just to protect your throne. Pui, you coward, what qualification do you have to talk to young Master Shi? Shangguan Qi was being scolded until his face turned gloomy, but what identity was Shen Qingchua, and what was the Shen family's identity? He dared to scold Hushi, but how dared he argue with Shen Qingchua? Shangguan Wenji seemed to look older at this time. He muttered, Forget it, go back. Let's go back. After talking, without waiting for Shangguan Qi, he walked back to the palace from the Breaking Spirit Mountain with the help of the Imperial Guards. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. Shangguan Qi glared fiercely at Hushi and turned to follow. Hushi sneered and retrieved the bodies of the Ouyang couple. Then she was about to say goodbye to Shen. Senator Shen Sun frowned. Shiyu, I'm afraid that Feng family won't give up on you. Let us escort you to Yanjing City. As soon as Shen Sun said this, Shen Qingchua immediately clapped and smiled happily before Hushi said anything. Great! Great! I heard that the Shengda Hall opened by young master Shi is lively. We will leave after we send him to Shengda Hall. Hushi also wanted to refuse, but she saw that all the disciples of Qingxia sect showed a kind look to her. She just felt warm in her heart. She held back the refuse she was going to say. She said in a low voice, "Thank you." Hushi would remember Qingxia sect's kindness to her in her heart. When Hushi took Shen Sun and others to the Shengda pharmacy in Yanjing City. It was already late at night. Zhou Yanan and Shi San were very pleased to see Hushi. They all came up together to greet her. "Young master, it's great that you returned safely." Hushi nodded and said, "Is everything okay here?" Shi San laughed immediately. "Young master, please rest assured. Shengda Hall is getting more and more prosperous every day. There were indeed some people who wanted to have bad intention on us. And there were someone wanted to inquire young master's identity, but they were all punished heavily by Master Gu. Now no one dares to cause trouble at the Shengda Hall." Hushi nodded. Guliu Fengming had operated Shengda Church and its forces for so many years, so his ability to handle things was naturally beyond doubt. Zhou Yanan saw Shi San had reported, so he stepped forward and said, "Young master, the Virtue Home has now accommodated many orphans, and I have now completely taken over the job from Master Gu. The children are very grateful to young master. They are very diligent in cultivation and learning. Especially Shi Lang, he has now entered the qi refining stage." When talking about the children, Zhou Yanan's expression was full of gentleness and kindness. His character was a bit soft and not decisive enough, but he was kind and patient. Therefore he was best sweet in taking care of the children. Shi San continued, "I have also visited the courtyard. It has been very calm for the past 1 month. Shi Jia and others have never come out of the training area, but I have received their voice message talisman. All of them are safe, including Xiaoli. Her strength has also improved quickly. The only problem is..." Speaking of which, his entire face was frowning. There were helplessness and trouble in his eyes. "Young master, your master is back." "Master is back?" Hushi asked in surprise. Then she remembered the days when she was tortured by the sword array. Her mouth twitched. Shi San said bitterly, "Yeah, he has been back for several days. He said he had run out of wine, and he asked us to prepare for him. However, he smashed all the wines we offered him. He even said that our wines are stinky, he must drink the wine that young master brews. But how do we find the good wines brewed by young master?" As Shi San said, he secretly glanced at Hushi's ugly face, and he even glanced at Shen Sun and others not far away. After a while he murmured and said, "Then the master got angry. He is causing trouble in the courtyard all day long. He said that young master, you don't respect the master. You didn't even prepare good wine and food for him before he dies." Hushi pressed her forehead and said in annoyance, "Okay, I got it. I will go back and serve the old man in a moment. I will let him drunk until he dies. Let's not talk about this. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free." Hushi introduced Shen Sun and others behind her. "This is Elder Shen of Qingxia sect. These are the elite disciples of Qingxia sect. Tonight, we will rest in Shengda Hall for 1 night. You have to make arrangements." As soon as Hushi said this, Zhou Yanan and Shi San both opened their eyes sharply. Qingxia sect." Shi San stuttered as he said, Is that Qingxia sect I think? The one from the Tiangang kingdom? The one from the 4 major sects? Qingxia sect." No wonder he just felt that each person exuded a strong spirit pressure, and there was even a sense of dignity in them. Shen Qingchua was amused by Shi San's appearance. She tilted her head and said, "Is there a second Qingxia sect in Miluo continent? Hee, young master Shi, your subordinates are really interesting." Before Hushi had time to say anything, Zhou Yanan suddenly took a step back, almost hitting the corner of the table. He tidied up his clothes in a hurry. He quickly said, I will inform the young master to let him serve the guests." Hushi pressed her forehead in a headache as she apologized to Shinsen. I'll take you in for a rest first. Shinsen's gentle smile didn't seem to be angry. Young master, she doesn't have to be so polite. We are considered as friends. Not to mention you are my lifesaver, so you can be more casual. In addition, we Qingxia sect wants to disturb you for one night in Qingda Hall, because we think that we will have the opportunity to witness the best medicinal pills tomorrow. However, I heard that the best medicinal pills sold by Qingda Hall in Tiangang Kingdom are better than the medicinal pills produced by the Association of Physicians. I hope, young master, she won't find my words being too abrupt. Hushi shook her head quickly. She wasn't stupid to not be able to feel Qingxia sect's care for her. Now that Shinsen was interested in the top-quality medicinal pills, she could just return a favor to them after settling Shinsen and others. Hushi hurried to the courtyard. What she was most worried about now was the life and death of Ouyang Haoshuan. But now she was really helpless with Ouyang Haoshuan's current state, which was neither dead or alive. Since her master was in another courtyard, maybe he would have a way. As soon as she arrived at another courtyard, Hushi heard a loud voice from the old man. I don't eat. Are these all pig foods? That is so unpalatable. Quickly serve me. Buddha jumps over the wall. 1. Meat dumplings in spicy sauce, sweet and sour spare ribs. AI, people's heart is really unpredictable. Finally, I accepted a good disciple, but she became so unconscionable in the blink of an eye. Not to mention he left me for a month, he didn't even prepare good wine and food to me. AI, raising a disciple is worse than raising a dog. A grieving sigh came from the main hall of the courtyard, along with the little girl's apology and embarrassment. Hushi's mouth twitched. She pushed open the door and walked in. Then she sneered. It's better to raise a dog than a disciple? Master, which dog can still be alive after being thrown in the sword array by you for 10 days? The old man, who was lying on the old-fashioned wooden armchair with his legs tilted up, immediately rolled his eyes as he heard her words. He smiled and said, AI, good disciple. I threw you in the sword array because I believe in your strength. See, aren't you back alive now? Miss, you are back. The little maids, who had been tortured by the old man, eyes lit up in surprise. This little girl was called Mu Dong. She was one of the slaves that Shi-san bought from the slave market. Her talent was only 4 spiritual roots, but her advantage was that her spiritual root was pure. Please go to https://www.novelupdates. cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. Hushi had done a soul control on this group of slaves, and she let them take the improved bone muscle enhancement pill. After that, these people cultivate qi easily. Those with excellent qualifications such as Mu Dong had already cultivated to qi refining stage. So just like Shi Jia and the others, little maid like Mu Dong also extremely admired Hushi. They only felt that they had really accumulated the kindness of a few lives, so they could be bought by such a master. Besides, Mu Dong was the savviest among them, so Hushi let her be a personal maid. Hushi waved her hand and let Mu Dong go down before walking slowly to the old man. The old man took down his feet the table, and he looked at her like he was confronting a formidable enemy. He murmured in his mouth, Good disciple, don't be angry. When I put you in the sword array that day, I went to drink alcohol. Hayes, your alcohol is really too tasty, so I was drinking more and more. When I woke up, 10 days had passed. Fortunately, my good disciple, you are powerful. You broke out of the sword array. AI, you are really the disciple I chose. Your talents are really the best. Hushi narrowed her eyes and watched him chattering. The old man's voice was getting smaller and smaller. He murmured, Well, I admit that I was wrong. I shouldn't leave you alone in the sword array, but I really need some good food now. You disappeared for a month, and I didn't have good liquor and food. My good disciple. Before the old man finished speaking, Hushi turned her wrist and a large bottle of liquor was placed in front of the old man. Oh, good liquor. The old man pounced onto the liquor jar and opened the lid. The thick and rich liquor's scent spread out. The old man felt so excited by the scent. He couldn't wait to swallow the whole jar of liquor together with the jar. Hushi took out a few more dishes, and the aroma of the food spurred the gluttonous insects in the belly of the old man. making his stomach rumbled. The old man couldn't care about anything else as he devoured food. After eating and drinking, he wiped his face with greasy hands and chuckled with laughter. "Ai, my good disciple, why are you so kind today? You didn't blame me, and you even took out so many good liquor and food. Do you have some requests from me?" She didn't hide it either. She used divine sense to investigate the surrounding. After confirming that no one was nearby, she cast a sound insulation enchantment. Under the surprised gaze of the old man, Hushi took out a storage ring from the space. Then he carefully moved Ouyang Haoshuan's corpse out of the storage ring. The old man's face changed almost at the moment when he saw Ouyang Haoshuan's corpse. He appeared next to Ouyang Haoshuan in a flash and crouched down. He said unbelievably, "Am I hallucinating? Why do I seem to feel the breath of that thing?" As the old man said, he reached out and touched Ouyang Haoshuan's body that was almost burnt into coke. When his hand touched the dantian, his expression suddenly became shocked and dignified. He exclaimed, "How is it possible?" Hushi quickly stepped forward and said with a soft voice, "Master, what's wrong? Can he still be saved?" The old man's expression looked uncertain. After a while he looked at Hushi. His eyes looked strange. "My disciple, you ask can he still be saved? Don't you know that he is now a dead body? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ the king of hell is genius pampered wife/ to read the latest chapters for free." Hushi frowned. "I know that his breathing and heartbeat have stopped, but I feel that there is a powerful force in his dantian, maintaining the operation of his meridians and spiritual power. It's just that I don't know how to save him. Is it that even Master don't know about it?" The old man frowned. He asked after a while, "My good disciple, do you know what is the power that can support the operation of spiritual power in a corpse?" Hushi shook her head. The old man pouted. He looked at the charred corpse on the ground and murmured, "I don't know whether this kid is having good luck or bad luck. A fire element spirit pearl is actually sealed inside his body." Fire element spirit pearl? Fire element spirit pearl is a kind of 5-element spirit pearl. It belongs to the condensed power source of the 5 elements. If the person who gets the 5-element spirit pearl can use this power properly, he can almost get the power that can bring disaster. Seeing Hushi's face look doubt and surprised, the old man scratched his hair. "Good disciple, let me tell you this. At Miluo continent, the sealed dragon sword in the sealed dragon domain's secret territory make all martial artists crazy for it, right?" Hushi nodded. The old man continued, "However, compared to 5-element spirit pearl, the treasure in the sealed dragon domain's secret territory is like the casual flying sword. Even if it is the Miluo continent, the peerless sealed dragon sword can't beat a 5-element spirit pearl at all. Nevermind is the major sex of the Miluo continent. Even I have the thought of snatching it myself when I realize that this is a fire element spirit pearl." This time Hushi was really shocked. She slightly widened her eyes and looked at Ouyang Haoshuan on the ground. After a while she said, "So the Feng family killed the General Ouyang's family just to get fire element spirit pearl?" The old man's eyes showed a bit of pity in his eyes at this time. He slowly shook his head. "I'm afraid it's not just about killing. 5-element spirit pearl is sealed in the body of a martial artist. Even if the body and dantian of the martial artist is cut into pieces, you may not find 5-element spirit pearl. The only way to make 5-element spirit pearl condense is that the carrier experiences a huge mind stimulation. Then the carrier will burst out a powerful strength to condense the 5-element spirit pearl. Of course, because of the destruction power of 5-element spirit pearl, the martial artist as a carrier will inevitably be swallowed by the power of the spirit pearl and become a corpse." Hushi's eyebrows twitched. She whispered, "Then do you mean there is no way to save Ouyang Haoshuan?" "That's not really true." The old man shook his head. He looked Ouyang Haoshuan with a complicated gaze. "So I just said I don't know if this boy is lucky or not. I have been living for thousands of years. I admit that I have seen any kind of people. However, this boy has absolute perseverance. Even I'm impressed by him." At the moment when fire element spirit pearl condensed, he directly exploded his gold core. After the gold core shattered, it merged into the fire element spirit pearl, letting him to burst out a might strength. His body obviously couldn't stand the terrifying power of the fire element spirit pearl. But because his gold core was merged into the fire element spirit pearl, which made the fire element spirit pearl contaminated by his breath, the fire element spirit pearl replaces his gold core to support the operation of his spiritual power, so this is why he looks like a living dead. Hashi said hurriedly. Can he still be saved? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. The old man was silent for a moment, and his eyes flashed for a while. After a long time he nodded. The only way to save this kid now is to completely replace his dantian and heart with fire element spirit pearl. Let fire element spirit pearl support his life and repair his body. He will still live like ordinary people in the future. He will have body temperature and breathing, but since then the heart and dantian are no longer his weakness. Of course, his strength will also be several times stronger than that of martial artists of the same level. It's just, Hashi, who had just relieved, became anxious again. Just what? The old man glanced at his disciple's delicate and handsome, which was hard to differentiate its gender. Then he laughed. But if the fire element spirit pearl merges with this kid's, the spirit pearl will melt and disperse in his body again. Before this kid dies, the fire element spirit pearl will never appear again. If you want to get the fire element spirit pearl back in the future, it will be impossible. On the contrary, if you take the fire element spirit pearl out of his dantian now, he is still a dead body. Moreover, fire element spirit pearl is even in its best condensation state. With the fire element spirit pearl, your strength can be improved several times immediately. Good disciple, are you sure you want to use this spirit pearl to save him? Hashi didn't even think about it and replied without hesitation. Is there anything to be sure? This spirit pearl is originally his, and his parents died horribly for this spirit pearl. I promised his father to save his life. The old man clicked his tongue and said, Good disciple, isn't this kid your lover? To save him, you don't even want the fire element spirit pearl? Do you understand how precious and powerful 5 elements spirit pearl is? Even I'm not willing. Are you not afraid that after you save this kid, he will have a fallout with you? Won't you suffer a big loss when you can't even win him anymore? What nonsense are you talking about? Hashi rolled her eyes on him and said angrily, I'm a doctor. Since I promised the patient's family to save people, and I have the ability to save them, how can they turn their backs? As for 5 elements spirit pearl, there are more good things all over the world now. Do they all have to belong to me? Additionally, Hashi's face flushed for a moment. She looked away and murmured, I already have someone in mind. Don't mention things like lover anymore in the future. The old man looked at her in a daze for a while. He seemed to be shocked by her words. He seemed to be stunned by her rare blush. After a long time, he suddenly bent over his body and laughed. Hashi was ashamed into anger being laughed by him, shouting, Old man, in a word, save or not save? If you don't save, I will ask the other for help. Save, of course I save. The old man's eyebrows were still smiling, and his eyes looking at her were softer and more amiable than before. My good disciple, you really deserve to be my disciple. Since you want this kid to survive, then I will try my best to save him. However, I can't do it here. You can take him with us. We will go to the desert area of the sealed dragon domain. Otherwise, I'm afraid that the movement will be too big, and it will attract other people peeking us. Hashi did not hesitate. She quickly brought Ouyang Haoxuan and the old man into the desert of the sealed dragon domain. The temperature in the northwestern corner of the desert had reached a horrible 60 degrees Celsius. Even magical beasts rarely appeared here. Hashi cast water spiritual power to protect herself. Only then she felt better under the heat wave. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. The old man seemed to be not affected by the high temperature. He gestured Hushi to put the body of Ouyang Haoshuan on the sand and muttered in his mouth, "Good disciple, I haven't really used my true spirit for hundreds of years. When this kid wakes up, you have to prepare to a Manchu Han imperial feast. 1. To treat me. Oh yes, don't let that little pink pig fight with me for food. All the dishes and liquors are for me." Hushi couldn't refrain herself from laughing, but she still nodded and said, "Thank you, master." The old man was satisfied. He sat cross-legged next to Ouyang Haoshuan and slowly closed his eyes. On the side, Hushi was shocked to find that the moment the old man closed his eyes, his vibe changed. The enormous powerful spiritual power flowed from his body and wrapped Ouyang Haoshuan's body. Almost at the moment when he touched the old man's spiritual power, Ouyang Haoshuan's dantian lit a golden red light. The old man opened his eyes abruptly, and his thin hands quickly formed a complicated symbol, hitting Ouyang Haoshuan's dantian. The golden red light at Ouyang Haoshuan's dantian was beating continuously, colliding with the old man's spiritual power. It seemed to want to break free from it. Hushi could vaguely see that it was a round blood-red pearl in the size of a fingernail. As the blood-red peel kept beating, the already scorching desert became hotter. Hushi looked at the old man nervously, and he saw crystal sweat beads oozing from his head. His face was extremely unsightly too. There was a shock in Hushi's heart. Although she didn't fully understand the strength of her cheap master, she could be 100% sure that he had already surpassed the existence of the top powerful individual of the Miluo continent. Or it should be said that he should belong to this realm. But now, Master is actually at a disadvantage fighting against the Fire Element Spirit Pearl? How powerful is this Fire Element Spirit Pearl? As the old man's spiritual power fighting against the Fire Element Spirit Pearl, Ouyang Haoshuan's body also began to show visible changes. The bright red light flowed through the meridians in his body. Wherever it went, the burnt black charcoal-like skin slowly recovered its flexibility and smoothness. And his pulse and dantian, that didn't have any movement initially, began to pulsate. Ouyang Haoshuan's face, which originally looked dead, was slowly becoming red, and his brows gradually twisted together, showing a painful expression. The struggle between the red pearl and the old man continued. The old man was sweating more, and his face looked even more unsightly. The light of the red peel was getting thinner and thinner, as if it would vaporize and disappear at any time. But at this moment, Ouyang Haoshuan struggled violently. There was a wild roar in his mouth. Indistinctly, Hushi could hear Ouyang Haoshuan's broken and hoarse voice. "Mother, father, Feng family die." Because of Ouyang Haoshuan's struggle and the turbulent hatred in his body, the red pearl that originally looked dull actually slowly had a layer of dark and subtle black gas. The old man's expression became more and more pale and unsightly. The spiritual power that originally wrapped Ouyang Haoshuan also shook for a while, as if it was entangled by the dark breath. At this time, Hushi felt like she was standing at the junction of cold and heat. For a while, she felt the cold that penetrated into her bone marrow. Then for a while, she suddenly felt a heat that could melt her flesh. 1 https://en. Wikipedia. org/wiki/manchu_hun_imperial_feast. Please go to https://www. Novel updates. cc/the king of hell is genius pampered wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. Even if she didn't know anything about 5 Elements Spirit Pearl, she felt something was wrong now. Both Ouyang Haoshuan and Master were now on the verge of life and death. One careless mistake, not only Ouyang Haoshuan couldn't be resurrected, even her master was likely to be implicated. Am I going to watch the worst result happen? No way. Never. Hushi's eyes were cold as she clenched her teeth. She suddenly walked to Ouyang Haoshuan's side and squatted down. The pale golden fire spiritual power condensed in her palm, and then she slowly transferred into Ouyang Haoshuan's body. The spiritual power flows through every inch of his meridians. Then it gathered to Ouyang Haoshuan's dantian. After that, it flowed into his brain, comforting her tense nerves and emotions. With the input of this pale golden spiritual power, magical things happened. Ouyang Haoshuan's wild and mad look slowly became calm under the comfort of this spiritual power. There was even a childish smile appearing between his eyes. The black shadow that originally eroded the spiritual power and fire element spirit pearl of the old man also gradually dissipated under the erosion of Hushy's spiritual power. Finally, it disappeared without a trace. Finally, the spiritual power in the Hushy body was completely exhausted. She staggered and sat down on the sand. She took out a few spirit healing pills, then drank a few mouthfuls of water. Only then she felt better. The fire element spirit pearl in Ouyang Haoshuan's gold core had been slowly melted under the influence of the old man's spiritual power. It finally completely merged with the flesh and blood of Ouyang Haoshuan, disappearing without a trace. At this time, Ouyang Haoshuan's original coke-like body had completely recovered into smooth skin, but on these slightly pale skin, layers of redness appeared. Every inch of his skin was as if burned by flames. His whole body was red in color. Painful moans and wailing came out from Ouyang Haoshuan's mouth. It seemed that he suffered from a heartbreaking pain. He started rolling on the ground nonstop. The clothes he had worn on him were burned to ashes in an instant. His naked body was completely exposed in the air. On his body surface, a seemingly invisible golden red flame seemed to be burning. The flame was horribly powerful. Except for the special sand in the desert, other things like stone and animal skeleton would be burned into ashes instantly. It was obvious that Ouyang Haoshuan had suffered a lot of pain under such a high temperature. The old man slowly opened his eyes at this time. He wiped the sweat on his forehead and said with a tired face, "Okay, the rest is on his own. As long as he can survive the last step of the fire element torment, he can really absorb the power of fire element spirit pearl." After waking up, although his strength is still only gold core stage, his future advancement speed will be very fast. Hushy didn't go to see Ouyang Haoshuan. Instead, she helped the seemingly weak old man and poured him a cup of ninth secluded spirit spring water. The old man took a sip of the ninth secluded spirit spring water, and his eyes were surprised. He looked at Hushy with widened eyes, then he sneered. "No wonder my good disciple never covets against others' treasure. It seems that my disciple also has a lot of treasures." After finished speaking, he didn't ask too much and bottomed up the spring water. As the spirit spring water spread in his body, the old man's face suddenly looked better. He recovered his usual dandiacal and smiling appearance. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. AI, my good disciple. You don't know that I suffer a big loss to save him. 90% of my fundamental essence was consumed. I need half a month or more to recover. This loss is immeasurable. You must use countless good liquor to compensate me. Hushy nodded with a smile. She really couldn't deal with her kidult master. The old man looked at Ouyang Haoshuan, but his eyes flickered a deep light. My good disciple, this brat has experienced too much darkness. Now his soul is contaminated by the bloodthirsty evil breath. Just now I was almost devoured by his evil breath as I was caught off guard. Luckily, you cast away the evil breath with your pure spirit fire, so we escaped from this disaster. However, you still have to be careful about this person. If one day the dark side of his mind is out of control, he may hurt you. My good disciple, I think you should stay far away from this brat." Hushy smiled. There was no fluctuation in her expression. She just said lightly, "If I had the experience like him, I might become darker and bloodthirstier than him. What's more, as compared to escape due to the fear of the unknown danger, I am more willing to choose to power up my strength, so that no one can hurt me." The old man for a moment, then he laughed a few times and hurriedly left while caressing his beard. He still has a few good liquor given by me, but he used most of his fundamental essence just now. Even his doppelganger almost collapsed. He had lost so much. No way, he must drink more of my good liquor to replenish it. Hushy stayed there, watching Ouyang Haoshuan kept rolling on the sand. He kept making painful growl. The scorching heat wave caused the temperature of the desert to rise rapidly. Even if Hushy had been condensing water spiritual power to resist it, her hair and clothes were gradually wet by sweat. Ouyang Haoshuan could no longer bear the burning pain that was everywhere on his body. He suddenly extended his hand and wanted to pierce into his dantian without hesitation. Something in his mind seemed to be breaking down, telling him that it was so painful to live. He had lost everything. He didn't have any meaning to continue living. Rather than living so desperately and painfully, he might as well die. As his hand was in the mid-air, a cold and soft hand caught his hand with a determined power. A cold and transparent voice sounded in his ears with a mocking and contemptuous tone. "Ouyang Haoshuan, are you such a weakling? Your parents were killed by Feng family. Your home was destroyed by Feng Yunjing. Your father still worried about your safety before dying, begging me to save you and let you live well. You vengeance hasn't ended yet. You parents are buried yet, but you just want to seek death? Ouyang Haoshuan, can you live up to your parents' dying wish and the enmities you carried?" Ouyang Haoshuan opened his eyes with difficulty, and he faintly saw a beautiful face. His eyes were picturesque, his face looked handsome, his wet hair drooped down on his snow-white forehead, making this young man look frail and delicate. It was hushy in the eyes of Ouyang Haoshuan. But the pair of bright and beautiful eyes were so cold and so decisive. With a sarcastic arc, her eyes seemed to mock his cowardice and his incompetence. "No, I didn't want to be ridiculed by these eyes, let alone being looked down upon by this person. I want to live. Even if I lose all hope, even if I have nothing, at least I can stay with this person." Please go to https://www.novelupdates. cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. Watching him and following his steps until the end of the world. Ouyang Haoshuan thought, I remember this person's name. The only name that is imprinted in my soul. Shiyu. Also Feng family, Feng Yunjing, my enmities, and the culprit that murdered my parents and destroyed my family is still alive. How can I die? How can I just give up like this? I want revenge. I will make the Feng family pay with their blood. I will let everyone in the Feng family taste the heartbreaking pain. How can I die? Ouyang Haoshuan opened his eyes abruptly. His red eyes burst into cold ray, and his hot body shivered with convulsions. Hushi let out a sigh of relief. She frowned and retracted her hand. The temperature in her palm was already swollen, due to the terrifying high temperature. If she didn't use ice spiritual power to wrap her skin before grabbing Ouyang Haoshuan's hand, her hands would have been burned to ashes now. Fortunately, Ouyang Haoshuan's situation finally stabilized. The originally weak and turbulent breath of life began to stabilize, and the burning flame slowly extinguished and merged into his flesh and blood. As the flame was completely extinguished, the temperature on the surface of Ouyang Haoshuan that could burn the stones to ashes also subsided. Ouyang Haoshuan opened his eyes in a daze, and Hushi reflected in his eyes. He said dumbly, Shiyu, I am still alive? Yes, you are still alive. Can I still avenge on the Feng family? Yes, you can avenge yourself. My parents' corpses. I've already collected them. When you wake up, we will find a place to bury and let them settle down. The light in Ouyang Haoshuan's eyes fluctuated, and the expression seemed to be crying, but it also seemed to be smiling. For a long time he whispered, Shiyu, thank you in the future, my Ouyang Haoshuan's is yours. When Ouyang Haoshuan said this, his expression was calm, but his eyes seemed to be swearing like a curse. Hushi was startled. She actually couldn't agree or disagree to him. She just felt that Ouyang Haoshuan was not seeking her opinion, but he was stating a fact that he had decided. Ouyang Haoshuan suddenly stretched out his hand with difficulty, and he slowly forced a drop of golden red blood from his palm. Without waiting for the Hushi reaction, the golden red blood drew a shallow arc in the air and merged into the Hushi's body. Immediately afterward, Ouyang Haoshuan's low, hoarse voice sounded slowly. I, Ouyang Haoshuan, would like to choose Shiyu as my master. I will serve you until the end of my life, and I will never betray you. If I violate this vow, I'm willing to suffer God's retribution, and my soul will never be able to reincarnate. Hushi was shocked. She didn't even understand Ouyang Haoshuan's words, and she felt that an invisible and powerful force enveloped the two of them. In the palm of her hand, there was another totem, then it disappeared. The rules had bound them together, and the blood pact was formed. Since then, Ouyang Haoshuan would be the most loyal subordinate of Heshi. This subordinate was different from slaves, but similar to the relationship between Nan Gongyu, Qinglong, and Wu Xing. The blood pact would not interfere with Ouyang Haoshuan's behavior, but once he had the intention to betray Heshi, the retribution would fall on him. Even if it was a divine stage powerhouse, he wouldn't be able to survive such retribution. There was only one feeling in Hushi's mind at this time: dumbfounded. She didn't even know what was in Ouyang Haoshuan's head. Before recuperating his injuries, he actually signed a blood pact with her. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. Moreover, did he get my approval to sign the blood pact with me? Heshi calmed down again after being flustered for a while. Regardless of the process, at least in terms of results, it was in her best interest to sign a blood pact with Ouyang Haoshuan. Initially, she did not want to regard Ouyang Haoshuan as a subordinate. She just wanted to keep the promise to General Ouyang to save him. Then she would take over the 100,000 Jinwei army. But since Ouyang Haoshuan was willing to stay with her and make her his master, she of course would take her as the main. She certainly couldn't refuse him pretentiously. Heshi looked at Ouyang Haoshuan and said solemnly, "Do you really think clearly?" Ouyang Haoshuan gave a weak smile. "What do you say? Shiyu, I owe you too much. Accept this method. I can't think of anything to repay you." Heshi looked at his dark, deep eyes. After a long time, she finally nodded and said, "Okay, I understand." As soon as he had finished speaking, Heshi waved her hand, and the scene in front of them instantly changed. It was no longer the hot desert, but it was a courtyard with picturesque scenery and full of spirits. Although this courtyard was a little ugly. After seeing the shock on Ouyang Haoshuan's face, Heshi smiled and said, "I was originally planning to send you here after you wake up, but since you have signed a blood pact with me now, there is nothing to hide. Here is Sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory," Heshi said slowly, "and I am the new owner of Sealed Dragon Domain." This time, Heshi finally saw the shock in Ouyang Haoshuan's face. She said with a smile, "There are many places suitable for cultivation in the Sealed Dragon Domain, and there are a lot of rare materials that can help cultivation. You can choose whatever you want. I have to go to Yanjing City first. You stay and rest well." Ouyang Haoshuan had just merged with Fire Element Spirit Pearl, so he was very weak. It was the safest to stay in the Sealed Dragon Domain. After giving the instructions to Ouyang Haoshuan, she let a Qi refining stage servant, Little C, take care of him. Heshi hurriedly left Sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory. Watching Hushi's figure disappear in the green scenery, Ouyang Haoshuan slowly lowered his eyebrows, covering the hot and deep darkness in his eyes. In fact, when he was like a scorched black body that couldn't move, his soul was not unconscious. So he heard it all. Not only did he hear Shiyu's master's evaluation of 5 elements Spirit Pearl, he also heard that Shiyu did not hesitate to give up the Fire Element Spirit Pearl that the Feng family crazily wanted to snatch to save his life. He even heard Shiyu's master's evaluation of him. One day he would betray Shiyu, so he asked Shiyu to stay away from him. But how could it be? Ouyang Haoshuan's mouth twitched as a faint smile appeared. There were only 2 reasons for him to stay alive now: vengeance and Shiyu. If he left Shiyu, what was the point for him to stay alive in this world? Therefore, admitting Shiyu as his master was the best ending. In this way, he could always follow Shiyu, watch her, follow her, and never have to separate. When Heshi finished handling Ouyang Haoshuan's matter, it was almost night. She hurried back to Xingda Hall. Before she entered the door, she heard Shen Qingchua's crisp but angry voice. "Hey, you who hide your face behind the mask, how can you stop me from finding Brother Shiyu? Do you know who I am? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free." Afterward, Gu Liufeng's gentle and clear voice sounded. "Miss Shen has misunderstood me. I'm not stopping you from seeing Shiyu. It's just that Shiyu has just returned from the big hunting match. He is physically and mentally tired, and he needs a good rest. You really shouldn't disturb him. Humph. I just want to peek at brother Shiyu secretly without disturbing him. Obviously, you don't like me. I asked you to take off the mask to speak with me, but you didn't want to. Are you looking down on me? As soon as Hushi walked into Xingda Hall, he saw Shen Qingchua aggressively looking at Gu Lufeng, but Gu Lufeng only looked helpless in his eyes. Upon seeing her coming in, Gu Liufeng's and Shen Qingchua's eyes were beaming. They walked toward her with joy. Gu Lufeng sized her up for a while before saying softly, "You finally returned safely." Shen Qingchua, who was originally shy, wanted to greet Hushi, but when she heard Gu Liufeng's words, she couldn't help but glare at him. What do you mean? Brother Shiyu has 9 lives. How can he have any danger? Gu Lufeng touched his nose with a helpless face. He didn't dare to argue with this little girl. Shen Sun stepped forward and knocked on Shen Qingchua's head. He said helplessly, "Young Master Gu didn't argue with you, but you still step on him more. Young Master Gu, young Master Shi, sorry for the embarrassing incident." Hushi smiled slightly. She took out a storage ring from her arm and said without hiding, "Elder Shen, I want to thank for your Qingxia sect's help in the big hunting match. This is my little present. Elder Shen, please kindly accept it." Shen Sun raised his eyebrows in surprise. He took the storage ring in his hand, but her expression was a bit obscure. Qingxia sect was not short of valuable magic weapons. He escorted this boy not only because Shiyu was Shen Qingchua's life-saving person, but Shiyu was also talented, and his demeanor was impressive. Obviously, he was just at the foundation establishment stage, but she wasn't humble or arrogant when facing such a huge sect like Qingxia sect. She didn't try to win over their favor. But now what did Hushi mean by sending this kind of present? Trying to win over Qingqing sect? To flatter Shen Sun? If so, Shen Sun would be disappointed. Thinking of this, Shen Sun used his divine sense to examine the items in the storage ring. However, after only a glance, Shen Sun's face suddenly changed. He exclaimed, These are all medicinal pills?" As he said, he took out a medicinal pill and put it on his nose to sniff. It was a 3rd-grade spirit healing pill, and it was the upper grade of 3rd-grade spirit healing pill. After sniffing the first one, he took out the second one, the third one, the fourth one. Hundreds and thousands of medical pills in different big jars. Yes, big jars. Inside the storage ring were all upper-grade pills. Shen Sen's expression was stiff, and he was astounded looking at Hushi. Hushi nodded her head with a normal expression. Instead, she said with a hint of apology, "The time is short, so I can't produce the best-grade medicinal pill. Therefore I can only give Elder Shen 1,000 upper-grade medicinal pills." In fact, she was busy saving Ouyang Haoshuan last night. How could she have time to make medicinal pills? Fortunately, Little Egg was bored this month, so he made a lot of medicinal pills in the void, so she currently had a lot of medicinal pills in stock. It was just that there were a few best-grade pills, and Shengda Hall's medicinal pills were almost sold out. After all, she had left for about a month or more. Hushi paused and said, "Because most of the disciples of Qingxia sect have high cultivation, so the medicinal pills that I prepare for you are 3rd grade. Of course, there is still a small amount of 2nd grade. I hope that it will be helpful in everyone's training. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free." The Qingxia sect's disciples, who were confused seeing Shen Shun's abnormal face, they were delighted as they heard Hushi's words. They rushed over and took the storage ring from Shen Sen's hand and looked inside. Immediately, exclamations sounded one after another. "Oh my God, there are so many medicinal pills. I have entered the medicinal pill store of Qingxia sect. All the medical pills in it are not more than this, right? And these are all 3rd-grade medicinal pills, you see. This bone muscle enhancement pill, I heard from external disciples said that this bone muscle enhancement pill can improve meridians and physical fitness. There is also the flame spirit pill. I heard that this pill can take twice the result with half the effort for cultivating fire attribute techniques, and it can also prevent the cultivator from being crazy in cultivating. My God, these pills are all extremely precious." He actually gives so much to us. Young Master Shi, do you really give us all this? Pairs of crystal bright eyes stared straight at her. Even Hushi was stunned by their gaze. She couldn't understand. Qingxia sect is one of the 4 major sects of the Miluo continent, right? Why are they like a hungry dog who sees a bone? Their eyes are widened as they see this 1,000 medicinal pills. They even almost pounce on me. Shen Sun coughed a little, covering up his previous gaffe. He said, Shiyu, are you really giving us Qingxia sect these medicinal pills? Of course. Hushi raised an eyebrow. Elder Shen, pardon me for speaking frankly. I thought these pills are just a small amount for Qingxia sect. Is Qingxia sect lacking medicinal pills? Shen Sun immediately sighed a bit. He said helplessly, there is something young master she didn't know. Although we Qingxia sect is one of the major sects, our medicinal pills are always in shortage. First and second grade pills are still enough. The pill refiners in our sect can help making the pills, but for the 3rd grade, we need to spend a lot of money to buy it. For the 4th grade, we tried every method, but we couldn't buy even 1 bottle. Why is that so? Hushi was really surprised. Qingxia sect was one of the 4 major sects of the Miluo continent. On the comprehensive strength, it was the strongest among the 4 major sections. However, they actually couldn't find the purchase source for the 3rd and 4th grade medicinal pills. It's because of the suppression of the shameless people of the Feng family. Before Shen Sun spoke, Shen Qingchua had clenched his fist while saying indignantly, Feng family. Shen Qingchua nodded, and she said angrily, Brother Shiyu, you also know that Fairy He Xinlian is the 6th grade doctor of the Doctors Association. But in fact, He Xinlian's level is even worse than the 3rd grade doctor. However, do you know why the Doctors Association opens a backdoor for He Xinlian? Hushi frowned. Feng family has a backdoor in the Doctors Association. It's more than that. A gold core stage senior disciple of Shen Qingchua gritted his teeth. A large part of the Doctors Association's good distribution channels for medical pills and the allocation of membership are in the hands of Feng family. Although the Feng family will not have a fallout with our Qingxia sect on the surface, they secretly did a lot of dirty moves. The medicinal pills we got were always delayed, or the price was several % higher than the other places. Famous doctors and pill refiners are all affiliated with the Doctors Association. They dare not take the risk of being delisted by the Doctors Association to help our Qingxia sect. Therefore, the cultivation of Qingxia sect's disciples is basically without the help of medicinal pills. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. Shen Qingchua focused on her head, and her entire small face was wrinkled together. This despicable Feng family. They are doing this to stop our Qingxia sect from getting stronger. The elder of the Feng family's overall strength is weaker than our Qingxia sect, so they use these dirty tricks to decrease our strength. This is too shameless. Hushi wondered. Can't Qingxia sect buy medicinal pills from other stores? It is just 1,000 medicinal pills. Even Shengda Hall like ours can stock up the pills. How can Qingxia sect, such a major sect, can't find a source of supply? Shiyu, didn't you know about that? Gu Lufeng noticed Hushi's thought first. He couldn't help laughing. You think how many pharmacies that aren't buying medicinal pills from the Doctors Association? If the Doctors Association knows that these pharmacies have sold medicinal pills to Qingxia sect in private, will they be able to buy from the Doctors Association in the future again? In the end, aren't those stores can only choose to close down? As Gu Lufeng spoke, there was a fire in his eyes. He slowly said, Shiyu, among the entire Miluo continent, only you can produce various grades of medicinal pills without fear of the Doctors Association's monopoly threat, and you can ensure the quality and quantity. Hushi's eyes widened slightly, then she went deep into her thought. I didn't expect there are so many connections between the Doctors Association and Feng family, so if I want to retaliate against Feng family, can I start with the Doctors Association? For example, to break their monopoly on the pharmaceutical market? As Hushi was lost in her thought, there was suddenly Shen Sen's voice in her ears. Hushi looked up and met Shinsen's eyes, but Hushi was stunned. At this moment, Shinsen didn't regard her as a junior that needed to be looked at her, no longer regarded her as a junior, but he was looking at her as someone of equal status. His expression was solemn, and there was even a trace of excitement and prayer. Shiyu, I want to discuss something with you. Shinsen stared nervously at Hushi and said in a deep voice, I want to represent Qingxia sect to buy medicinal pills from Shengda Hall at a market price every year, or even 10% higher than the market price. Wait. Hushi suddenly interrupted Shinsen's words. I can provide Qingxia sect with 8,000 to 10,000 third-grade medicinal pills each year. The quality is guaranteed to be above the upper grade, and the price only needs 50% of the market price. But beyond that, I have a condition. 10,000T medicinal pills dash? 50% off. Young Master Shi, you joke with us, right? In the room, incredulous exclamations came one after another, and the people of Qingxia sect was staring straight at Hushi with their eyes and ears opened. It seemed that if what Hushi said was a joke, they would faint together. Even the calm and steady Shinsen couldn't help gulping his saliva. After a while he suppressed the excitement and trembling in his voice and asked, Young Master Shi, please do tell the condition? Hushi smiled slightly, then her eyes looked dim. She said coldly, Qingxia sect has enough manpower. It also has enough prestige and power in various countries in Miluo continent, and I have enough medicinal pills in my hand that will not be constrained by the Doctors Association. So I hope Qingxia sect can act as an agent of Shengda Hall. The products are all the medicinal pills and spirit plants sold by Shengda Hall. Qingxia sect can get 20% of the profit earned. What does Elder Shin think about it? Shinsen was stunned, then he immediately opened his eyes. Shiyu, do you want to? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. I want to pressure the Doctors Association's market across the mainland and break their monopoly. Hushi smiled coldly, and her voice was full of cold and evil. Feng family can be so rampant in Miluo continent. The monopoly of the pharmaceutical market must be very important for them, right? Since this is the case, I will destroy them based on this. By the time, I want to see how arrogant can they be. That's right. As long as the Feng family can no longer control the pharmaceutical market, they will definitely be like a tiger with its fangs removed, and they will never be able to be arrogant again. Shin Qingchua clapped her hands excitedly as she said loudly, Brother Shiyu, you are really amazing. Shinsen had rich experience and a calm and steady personality, but he was a bit worried. Shiyu, you do this, not only you will offend the Feng family, but you also offend the entire Doctors Association. When they retaliate against you, I'm afraid you can no longer survive as a doctor in Miluo continent. If I'm not going to offend them, will the Feng family let me go? Hushi sneered. Her eyes were full of determination. My principle has always been that I won't offend people if people don't offend me. Since the Feng family came to trouble me for several times, should I still be a coward who doesn't dare to retaliate? Moreover, it's my business to help people. I don't need the Doctors Association's approval. Speaking of which, Hushi's eyes twitched, with a bit of provocation. Still, Qingxia sect is afraid of Feng family and Doctors Association? Shinsen was first stunned. Then he immediately laughed out loud. Good, since Shiyu is not afraid of them, then I have nothing to fear. But for cooperation, I still have to tell the sect's elders before making a decision. But this matter was basically a matter of fact. After all, apart from medicinal pills, Qingxia sect was not afraid of the Doctors Association. And this cooperation was obviously beneficial to Qingxia sect without harm. Thinking of this, Shinsen's eyes obviously looked delighted. There was more admiration in his gaze toward Hushi, like he was looking at a rare treasure. He really didn't expect that he was just simply helping a junior this trip, but it actually solved the big problem that troubled Qingxia sect for hundreds of years. The specific cooperation details were naturally negotiated by Gu Lufeng and the Qingxia sect. These were not Hushi's expertise. Gu Liufeng's face also showed a bit of excitement when he thought of fighting against a big organization like the Doctors Association. In just 10 years, he was able to grow Xingda Hall and other businesses as a nobody. Naturally, he had extraordinary talents in business. Now Shi wanted to make the business bigger. It was no longer like making a fuss, but it was to contend with such a powerful force as the Doctors Association. It naturally aroused unlimited fighting spirit in his heart. However, Gu Lufeng still had some doubts when he thought of the huge amount of medicinal pills produced by the Doctors Association every year. Shiyu, I want to fight against the Doctors Association and hammer the pharmaceutical market of the Feng family. I agree. However, can you constantly supply that insane amount of medicinal pills? The obscurity of Gu Liufeng's words made Shenzhen think that Hashi had a pill refiner team supplying medical pills. But in fact, Gu Lufeng himself was very clear. Shiyu had a pill refiner team. It was only her alone. A few thousand was still fine, but tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of medicinal pills would be terrible. Hashi thought about it. She hesitated and said, Gu Lufeng, you first investigate the number of upper-grade medicinal pills produced by the Doctors Association every year, and I will make adjustment accordingly. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. We may not be able to occupy the market for the inferior and intermediate grade medicinal pills, but for upper grade and best grade medicinal pills, I believe that we can definitely hurt some of the Doctors Association's profit. The reason Hashi was so confident was that Little Egg had upgraded. In fact, Hashi couldn't determine whether the brat was actually upgraded because its appearance had not changed. However, after eating a lot of Monster Essence pill, the speed of this brat refining pills had been improved several times than before. He didn't need to take too much effort to refine third-grade pills. Now it was Hashi couldn't keep up with his speed. Until now, she couldn't successfully refine the fourth-grade medicinal pills. After all, Little Egg could only learn her refining methods to make pills. Gu Lufeng was overjoyed when he heard that. Then he brought Shin Sun to the side and discussed about the cooperation. Xin Qingchua and Qingxiasek's disciples also excitedly gathered at the side, thinking about the beautiful future of Qingxiasek's disciples taking medicinal pills as sugar pills. Shenzhen also released a message inscribed Jade Slip, telling the elders and master of Qingxiasek that they would go back later. However, before waiting for Shenzhen to receive a reply from the door, they received a shocking news that shocked the entire Miluo continent. Luli sect was eliminated. When everyone first heard the news, their reaction was disbelief. Xin Qingchua said angrily to the disciple who came to report, Brother Qiu, even if you hate the Feng family and Luli sect, don't curse them with such fabricated lie, okay? Even if it is a curse, it can't really take effect. Brother Qiu, you are a grown-up. Your behavior is really naive. The other Qingxia sect's disciples, including Shenzhen, all showed approval. Brother Qiu was a stutterer. Now that he was denied by the others, he couldn't help but be more anxious. Really Luli sect is really eliminated. Now the news has spread all over the Muyo continent. I really did not lie. Xin Qingchua pouted. Brother Qiu, are you telling the truth? But how can such a thing happen? That's Luli sect, one of the 4 major gates of Miluo continent. Even if it is the military power of a country, it may not be able to compete with the power of Luli sect. You now say that it is destroyed. How do we believe in you? But it's true. I am. Brother Qiu was initially so anxious that he couldn't speak clearly, plus Shen Qingchua's resolute denial. There was even cold sweat coming out from his forehead. As Shen Qingchua was about to make fun of this fellow apprentice again, the sound of rapid footsteps suddenly came from the door. The person who came was Shisan. He was all sweating all over his head, and his face also looked astounded. As soon as he saw Hashi, he rushed over and said with a trembling tone, Young master, I have just gotten some news from Senior Mei. Luli sect was eliminated dozens of days ago. As soon as Shi-san said this, the room in Shengda Hall was silent. After a long while, Shun-sun stood up. He said in disbelief, Is what you said true? Luli sect was really eliminated? Is it not a rumor or gossip? At this time Brother Chiu, who was blushing, finally burst out a sentence. Master Senior, it is true. I have just seen it on the black market announcement. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. The news published in the official announcement of black market was not well informed, but once it was released, it must be an absolute fact. Hushi's face was also incredible, looking at Shi-san. Do you know who eliminated Luli sect? Shi-san shook his head. The exclamation, shock, gloating and misfortune in his eyes were intertwined. His expression could not be more complicated. After I got the news from Senior Mei, I went to the black market in Yanjing City to inquire. It is said that Luli sect was eliminated this time mostly because they had sent a lot of elite disciples to participate in the big hunting match. Those who were left in the sect were mostly low-level martial artists of the Meridian stage and Foundation Establishment stage. The only 3 nascent soul stage elders also didn't have high cultivation, and he was weak in fighting, so it gave the opponents a chance. Shun-sen's face became unpredictable for a while. He shook his head a moment later. Even if Luli sect really sent a large number of elite disciples, it was still a powerful sect. How could anyone catch them off guard? Moreover, Luli sect also has 9 Turn Earth Mysterious Array as Mountain Guard Array. Even the martial artists at the peak of nascent soul stage can't break at will. After a while, Shun-sen's tone was more solemn and doubtful. Not to mention, Luli sect is located next to the magical beast forest, which is easy to defend and difficult to attack. It has a natural barrier. How could normal people go into the Luli sect without being detected, kill everyone in it and disappeared without leaving a trace? If someone on the Miluo continent can do this, how terrifying and powerful should this person's strength be? Hushi's expression slightly condensed. Hushi didn't know why she thought of Nangong-yu's face when Shun-san said this. Inexplicably, she remembered the brief meeting with Nangong-yu that day. The man told her in a casual tone that soon Luli sect and Feng family would no longer exist. Was it Nangong-yu who eliminated Luli sect? No. How can this be possible? Hushi's thoughts quickly in her mind, but soon she denied herself. How could it be Nangong-yu? How strong Luli sect's strength was. Nangong-yu's strength is nothing more than a nascent soul stage. How could he break the Mountain Guard Array and kill everyone in Luli sect? There are even 3 elders with the same nascent soul stage. What's more, if Luli sect was eliminated dozens of days ago, wasn't it the time when Nangong-yu came to rescue me? How could he come to breaking spirit mountains at that critical moment? Hushi shook her head. Her logical mind told her that this could not be done by Nangong-yu, but there was a voice faintly in her heart, telling her that Luli sect's elimination was probably related to Nangong-yu. Thinking of this, a complex emotion came into Hushi's heart. Before today, Luli sect and Feng family were like huge trouble for her. Feng Lianying framed her and found someone to humiliate her. She could fight back and counterattack, but she couldn't kill Feng Lianying with a slap. Why? Wasn't it because Feng Lianying had Luli sect and Feng family behind him? But now the entire Luli sect had disappeared, so she couldn't believe it for a while. Shen Qingchua, who was dumbfounded by the sight, suddenly recovered. She held her face and exclaimed, Really eliminated? It was Luli sect. They actually all got killed? Who did it? It's really amazing. Uncle, do you really know? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. Shun-sun had calmed down now. He shook his head in a complicated look. The power that could to wipe out Luli sect is absolutely unusual. You may have heard the prestige of Luli sect, but you certainly don't know that from the sect elders to outer disciple, They were all extremely loyal to Luli sect. I have seen a battle in which Luli sect's disciples participated. Most of them were only outer disciples, but when facing the fierce magical beasts, they were not afraid of dying at all. The sect elders let them to dive into a group of magical beasts to be a bait, and they rushed in without hesitation. Even if they were torn to pieces by the magical beasts, no one flinched. As Shunsun said this, he couldn't help frowning. I thought at the time that this Luli sect under the control of Feng family was a bit scary. Their disciples were not like martial artists who learned from the teacher, but more like the death warriors of the Feng family. If you want to destroy the martial arts with such high loyalty, even if you exhaust all the forces of our Qingxia sect, you will inevitably fail. Therefore, I really can't think of anyone else who can do this in Miluo continent. Shunsen's words made Hushi surprised. High loyalty. Extremely loyal that can sacrifice themselves? Is Shunsun really talking about Luli sect's disciples? Why, the Luli sect's disciples I met in Sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory were not the same as he described. She couldn't help but ask, were there really no one betraying Luli sect for these hundreds of years? Even a cult that focuses on brainwashing can't make the followers never betray, right? Shunsun nodded and said, naturally there is. But it is said that they ended up miserably, and there were many traitor disciples even kneeling and climbing back to the sect, begging the sect to forgive their crimes and let them accept punishment. Over time, no Luli sect's discipline dared to betray anymore. Hushi's pupils shrank, and she looked into Gu Liufeng's eyes. They both saw the shock in each other's eyes. Hushi looked at Shunsun and said in a deep voice, Elder Shin, have you seen those disciples who betrayed Luli sect? What will they become? Before Shunsun hadn't spoken, a Qingxia sect's disciple beside him said with pity, I really saw one. That was my fellow countryman. He was originally Luli sect's outer disciple. Later, he wanted to leave Luli sect for some reasons, but half a month after he left, he had completely changed when I met him again. He looked really like. Hushi narrowed her eyes slightly and said slowly, is it that he will go crazy and lose his mind oftentimes? He also kept shouting to ask for something to eat. Moreover, after a period of time, his body will gradually lose weight like he is withered. His original cultivation will be degraded until he can no longer cultivate. Then Qingxia sect's disciple's eyes widened suddenly. His face was filled with unbelief. Young Master Shi Yu, how do you know? Hushi did not answer, but she glanced at Gu Lufeng again. The two spoke the same three words in unison. Cold eating pill? Shunsun was surprised. What does young Master Shi mean? What is the cold eating pill? Gu Liufeng's expression became somber and cold. He said word by word as if he was gnashing his teeth. This is one of the most poisonous drugs in the world. It can be addictive and can control people's minds. As long as you have taken the cold eating pill for a long time, you can no longer get rid of it, otherwise you will suffer more miserable pain than having thousands of ants devouring your heart. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. In order to continue to get the pills, no matter how powerful the martial artist is, he will lose all their senses. Whether it is to let him die, to kill, or to kneel on the ground to ask for mercy, he will do it. This is cold eating pill. Shunsen's pupils shrank suddenly as he slapped on the table with a palm. There is such an evil drug in this world. Shun Qingchua even gripped a small fist. She said in nervous and shocked, are you saying that the Luli sect's disciples who are not afraid of death actually ate the cold eating pill, so they had no choice but to do that? Then, aren't they too pathetic? Hushi sneered. Feng family is backed by the Doctors Association to use drugs and medical skills to achieve their dirty purpose. Are they still doing too little? In this way, the Black Law Protector we encountered in the Murong Mansion must also be a member of the Feng family. Gu Lufeng clenched his fists violently. His eyes revealed a cold gaze. He gnashed his teeth and spoke two words, Feng family. Hushi asked Shunsun, what impact will the Luli sect's destruction have on the Feng family? In the final analysis, Luli sect is actually just a huge force attached to the Feng family. For Feng family, the lack of Luli's sect will definitely hurt them for a while. It is like one's right arm being chopped off, his strength will drop greatly, but Shun Sen's eyes narrowed. But as long as Feng family's biggest support is still there, as long as the Doctors Association is willing to support the Feng family, then the Feng family cannot be destroyed. Because as long as they can provide enough medical pills, they monopolize the whole doctors and pharmaceutical market. Then on this Miluo continent, there are more martial artists willing to work for Feng family. In particular, if there is such a weird and insidious medicinal pill like the cold-eating pill in Feng family's hands, there are likely to be countless martial artists under their control. They have no choice but to listen to Feng family's command. Speaking of which, Shun Sun looked at Hushi with sparkling eyes. He slowly said, "So Shiyu, if you really want to completely defeat the Feng family until they can no longer rise again, then now is the best opportunity." Feng family that had lost the Luli sect, lost their face and reputation in big hunting match, was now at the most desperate time. If at this time, there was a genius pill refiner appeared out of the blue who wasn't afraid of the suppression of Doctors Association, and he could disrupt the monopoly of Feng family and Doctors Association on the pharmaceutical market, then this blow would be truly fatal to the Feng family. Hushi nodded slightly when she heard the words. Her red lips slowly lifted, and her smile was brighter and dazzling than the summer sun. At the same time, the news that Luli's sect was wiped out had spread across the entire Miluo continent like a storm. When the Feng family received this news, they were the ones who felt most shock. At first, He didn't even know when Luli's sect was eliminated. Until one day little C, who was responsible for cleaning the ancestral hall, discovered that Elder Feng's soul lamp that was enshrined in the longevity hall was extinguished. He anxiously told this news to Patriarch Feng Tianba. Even at that time, Feng Tianba thought that something went wrong, or that Elder Feng's soul lamp extinguished because he accidentally got possessed by a demon while cultivating and died. However, when Feng Tianba and the elders of Feng family rushed to the mountain where Luli's sect was located, and saw that the scene of the entire sect was in a bloodbath, they were so shocked that they almost had a heart attack. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. In particular, the main peak of the cliff adjacent to the magical beast forest was cut off by a sword. The broken peak looked empty, like it was mocking their incompetence. Feng Tianba walked among the dead bodies whose blood had dried up, only to feel that his chest was full of blood. He nearly vomited blood. Luli's sect. This was Luli's sect, one of the 4 major sects of the Miluo continent. How much effort did they take to build Luli's sect to the current scale? Not to mention the human and material resources invested in it. Just only how much cold-eating pill they made to control Luli's sect's disciples, and turn them in a death warrior that serves only the Feng family? Besides, how could the cold-eating pill be made easily? But in the blink of an eye, hundreds of years of hard work, Feng family's ambitions had been completely destroyed. How could Feng Tianba be reconciled? He took a deep breath and gritted his teeth hard. Who did it? Find them. You must find them. Someone actually dared to destroy the efforts of our Feng family for nearly 1,000 years. I must crash this culprit into pieces. The elders and the disciples behind Feng Tianba lowered in panic and responded with an affirmation. However, based on the ruthless means of this force, it could kill everyone in the Luli's sect. How could it be found so easily? Feng Tianba clenched his fists with one hand and smashed at the tall ancient tree beside him. The ancient tree, which could not be completely surrounded by a few people, fell to the ground as it gave a painful wailing. Just as everyone was anxious, an old man with white beard and hair and a slender figure stepped forward. He frowned as he said, "Tianba, do you think that this matter is related to the sealed dragon domain's secret territory?" Feng Tianba was stunned, and he recollected his thought. His original expression that was still full of anger immediately showed a respectful expression when he saw this white-bearded old man. Why would the great elder say this? The old man with a white beard touched his long beard. "Tianba, didn't you notice it? Since the emergence of the sealed dragon domain, Our Feng family starts to go wrong in everything. First of all, Lianying lost the inheritance of Purple Golden Palace in Sealed Dragon Domain. Then she lost her face after coming out. After that, Jiang family's supposedly secret dark spirit plant cultivation base was destroyed. An elder Jiang also died to unnatural cause. Then Morong family was eliminated. Cold eating flower was also disappeared bizarrely. Immediately after, our disciples that sent to the magical beast forest to look for the tree of spirit I also continued to disappear. And now it's finally Luli Sect's turn to be eliminated. All of this started after the appearance of Sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory. It seems like there is a force in the midst of it, constantly fighting against our Feng family, weakening and encroaching on our Feng family's power a little bit. Feng Tianba heard the words, and his face suddenly showed a thoughtful expression. It was just that the deeper he thought, he realized that Great Elder was really right. Feng family's disadvantaged situation was completely after Sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory was opened, and it had accumulated step by step until the current situation. It would be too coincidental to say that these things had nothing to do with Sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory. After the old man with white beard finished speaking, he immediately said, "About the new owner of Sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory. Don't you say that Yunjing is checking on it? Is there no news yet?" Feng Tianba shook his head abruptly. "Not yet." The old man with white beard immediately snorted coldly. His eyes were full of dissatisfaction. What is going on with Yunjing recently? His efficiency in doing things is getting lower and lower. He can't even handle such a little Shengda Hall, and he even let their fame grows bigger and bigger. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. You'd better let him speed up, otherwise. Humph. Feng family doesn't only has one talent, Feng Yunjing. If he can't be used, then replace him directly. The old man with a white beard made Feng Tianba broke into sweats like he was sitting on thorns. Although he knew that the old man with a white beard was taking the opportunity to raise an issue as his children and grandchildren couldn't take charge of the Feng family. This great elder was extremely powerful, and Feng Tianba knew that he had done wrong. How dared he argue with the great elder? He only gritted his teeth and said, "Great elder, rest assured, I will definitely educate Yunjing well." Immediately he whispered, "Great elder, Luli sect is destroyed. I always feel very strange. Logically, if you want to reach the range of Luli sect, you will definitely alarm our arrays located outside and at the foot of the mountain. But now, Luli sect was eliminated silently. This force must be very powerful. Great elder, shall we ask the Venerable to report the situation to above and ask for help?" There was a little hesitation on the face of Great Elder. Then he shook his head and said, "The Venerable is now breaking through the divine stage behind closed door. Now is the most important moment. Let's not disturb him first. After the Venerable comes out, we will let him decide." The two were discussing in a solemn look, and suddenly, a Great Elder's disciple came forward in a hurry. The disciple's expression was extremely strange and shocked, and his obscure eyes glanced at Feng Tianba from time to time, which was full of inexplicable meaning. This made Feng Tianba feel very uncomfortable. Never mind if Great Elder was disrespectful to him. Now even the Great Elder's disciple looked at him with such disrespectful eyes. Did he still consider Feng Tianba as the patriarch? Soon, the disciple took out an inscribed jade slip from his arm and handed it to the Great Elder. He whispered, "Master, I think you better have a look at this thing." Great Elder's face looked suspicious. He took over the inscribed jade slip, and he was about to activate it. The disciple's face was red. He immediately raised his voice and said, Master, please watch it secretly. This couldn't be played in the public to put shame on the Feng family again." Great Elder frowned, and the displeasure and doubts on his face were even more. He said coldly, "So much nonsense, what the hell are you doing?" But he still used divine sense to peel into the inscribed jade slip. However, when he activated the inscribed jade slip and saw the content played in the inscribed jade slip, his body suddenly froze. At the next moment, he was like being bitten by something dirty. He quickly exited the inscribed jade slip, but his bluish-purple complexion couldn't recover for a while. He gritted his teeth and tried to hold back the shame and anger that was rolling in his heart, but he couldn't hold it back. He smashed the inscribed jade slip in his hand at Feng Tianba fiercely. He screamed furiously, "Feng Tianba, look at the good daughter you taught. Our Feng family's face is shamed by her." After talking, it seemed as though he felt sick for staying more than a second. Great Elder swept his sleeve and turned away angrily. Feng Tianba took over the inscribed jade slip that was smashed by Great Elder. His face was full of doubts. He glanced at the Great Elder's disciple that had not left, and he frowned for a moment, but he still used divine sense to peek into the inscribed jade slip. The inscribed jade slip played a clear video soon. It was obviously recorded with recording talisman in a mountainous area. But if it was just a video, the Great Elder had nothing to be angry about. As Feng Tianba was thinking this way, the scene that made him burst into anger appeared. Among the trembling grasses, a woman entangled with 7 or 8 men. Her body kept undulating. The scene was so obscene that it was disgusting. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. But that woman was actually his daughter, Feng Lianying. When Feng Tianba got out of the inscribed jade slip, his body was shaking. He kept shouting in his mouth, "Animal! Bitch! Where is that animal bitch? Find her quickly! Did you hear me?" The hand holding the inscribed jade slip was tightened and tightened. With a bang, the inscribed jade slip crashed into powder and fell down. It could be seen how anxious he was at this moment. Feng Tianba took a deep breath and looked at the Great Elder's disciple. "Yin Chun, how many of this inscribed jade slip is outside? You must get them all back. The men in those videos, and those that saw the video, you must get rid of them. This matter shouldn't be spread." Feng Yinchen, the Great Elder's disciple, coughed a little and said again, "Reply to Patriarch, the man in the video, except brother Nia Jinchen. The others were killed by junior sister apprentice Feng. However, it isn't easy to kill all those who have seen this video. Why? Is there anyone in this Miluo continent that my Feng family dare not deal with?" Feng Yinchen shook his head quickly. He silenced for a while before saying with a strange look, "Patriarch, it is not that our Feng family dare not deal with it, but we can't deal with so many people at all." He gritted his teeth and glanced at Feng Tianba's look before saying with a suppressed voice, "About that, now, this kind of inscribed jade slip is basically in the entire black market. Everyone basically has a copy. Even if those who didn't buy the copy, they had most likely seen it in the black market. Most of the customers in the black market don't announce their name. Even if we want to deal with them, I'm afraid it's not possible. Excuse me, Patriarch, do we still need to collect those inscribed jade slips?" As Feng Tianba heard the words, he only felt his head was buzzing. Feng family's fame was just destroyed like that, and it was still destroyed by his good daughter. When he thought that all the martial artists in the Miluo continent had seen this video, then they were mocking him for failing to teach his daughter, he felt like his chest was being hit heavily by a hammer. In the future, how did Feng Tianba have the face to be the Feng family's patriarch? How did he have to face to walk in the immortal world? Feng Yinchen didn't seem to notice his pain at all, and he added, "Moreover, I also heard that someone accidentally played this video at the final award ceremony of the big hunting match. So all the martial artists present at the time, including the elders and the disciples of the other 3 major sects, all saw." After hearing this, Feng Tianba couldn't help it anymore. He spat out blood, and his whole body was crumbling. That animal. Damn that animal. I should have choked her to death when she starts to make a sound. When Feng Yunjing hurried back to Feng family, he heard that Feng Tianba got furious that he vomited blood and fainted. He also heard about Lu Li sect's incident. When he thought of the force that could wipe out Lu Li sect, Feng Yunjing also burst into a cold chill. He always felt that a pair of eyes were watching coldly at their Feng family, waiting for them to be sloppy and giving them a fatal blow. No, We are Feng family. Feng family has never failed for more than 10 years. How can it be easily defeated? Feng Yunjing shook his head and removed the absurd thought from his mind. He frowned at Feng Tianba's manservant. How is father's situation? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. The manservant said worriedly. Patriarch was already shocked and angry when he knew Luli sect being destroyed, but he later immediately saw the miss video. He became infuriated immediately, then he vomited blood and fainted. Feng Yunjing's face was distorted when he heard of Feng Lianying's video. On the way home, he also saw the video, and he knew that everyone in the black market had a copy of it. When Feng Yunjing thought that the woman who made the obscene and shameless posture was her sister, he could not wait to tear her into pieces. What about Feng Lianying? He asked coldly. The manservant hurriedly said. The miss is locked in the ice fire cave as soon as she came back, and she received a punishment of 100 lashes every day. She couldn't get out until the patriarch says stop. She deserves it. Feng Yunjing made a cold snort. Then he no longer bothered about Feng Lianying. He quickly walked into Feng Tianba's room. Feng Tianba's complexion at this time was much better than a few days ago, but his face still appeared a little pale. Especially the excellent appearance that he maintained well. Now there were quite some white hairs, and there were more wrinkles on his face. Like he got a decade old in an instant. Feng Yunjing's heart sank a little bit. He remembered his mistake in finding Ouyang Haoshuan. Plus by Sha's death, he didn't know how to tell these things to his father now. Feng Tianba's expression had calmed down a lot when he saw Feng Yunjing. He asked him to sit down in front of him. For this only son, a genius who could enter the nascent soul stage at a young age, he was still very fond of and valued him. Yunjing, what did you get about miracle healer Shi? Feng Yunjing quickly lifted his spirit and said, Father was right. Shiyu was indeed the one who healed Ouyang Haoshuan's broken veins, and Shengda Hall as well as the best quality pill. All of them are related to Shiyu. It is said that the best quality pill came from Shiyu's master. Feng Tianba narrowed his eyes slightly. Who is his master? This is not clear yet. Feng Yunjing shook his head. No one has ever seen Shiyu's master. The medical pills of Shengda Hall are provided directly by Shiyu. No one else knew the source of her medicinal pills. However, I heard one thing from Heisha. What's that? When Morong family was destroyed that day, Heisha once rushed to rescue them. In Morong Mansion he did meet several people. One of them was a powerhouse of nascent soul stage. However, these people couldn't fight against Heisha. Heisha almost caught all of them. But at the last minute, a crazy old man suddenly came out. The old man's cultivation was extremely unfathomable, and he knocked Heisha out of thousands meters away with a slap, making him unable to fight back. Heisha also said that the strength of the crazy old man may be higher than the venerable. Feng Tianba's face slowly dignified. His expression was uncertain. Feng Yunjing said again. Heisha heard that the old man claimed to be the master of one of the young men. And that young man, Heisha suspected that he was Shiyu. Feng Tianba's expression was full of shock. He gritted his teeth and said after a while, This matter must be reported to the venerable. There is actually an old man with such a strength standing behind Shiyu. Could it be that Luli sect was exterminated because of that old man? Yunjing, you continue to investigate and find out what the old man's identity. Does he have anything to do with Shiyu? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. Thinking of this young miracle healer, Shiyu who seemed to appear out of thin air, Feng Tianba's expression immediately became extremely gloomy and ugly. Didn't I ask you to go out and bring Shiyu back to me this time? Such a person must serve our Feng family. If she can't be used, then you must destroy him. Yunjing, what the hell are you doing? Feng Yunjing's face was also ugly. After a long time, he gritted his teeth and said, Father, rest assured that one day I will capture him back and let him go nowhere except Feng family. One day, I will let Shiyu become my woman who crawls under my feet and becomes my personal sex slave. Feng Tianba waved his hand and said, "You can leave now. You investigate clearly on what I instructed you. Don't give the incompetence impression to those elders. You will be in charge of the Feng family in the future." This time Feng Yunjing didn't nod his head and walked away obediently, but he showed a hesitating expression. "What's wrong? What else?" Feng Yunjing hesitated for a long while before saying in a low voice, "Father, Bai Sha is dead." "What did you say?" Feng Tianba straightened up and stared at Feng Yunjing with bloodshot eyes. "Who is dead? Bai Sha? He is a master of the nascent soul stage. How could he die?" Feng Yunjing swallowed the saliva in his mouth. Then he said in a difficult way, We found fire element spirit pearl and let it condense into shape. However, the person with fire element spirit pearl was too stimulated. He exploded his gold core and suicide with Bai Sha. Fire element spirit pearl? Feng Tianba bounced from the bed this time. He said in a trembling voice, "Is it really fire element spirit pearl?" "Yes, I personally watched the pearl manifest." "What about the fire element spirit pearl? Did you get it back?" Compared to getting fire element spirit pearl, losing a Bai Sha was really nothing. Feng Yunjing closed his eyes and clenched his teeth. He only said in a hoarse voice after a long time, "Sorry, father, the man who condensed the fire element spirit pearl ran away." "Ran away?" Feng Tianba yelled. He suddenly felt dizzy. Immediately after that, he raised his head and slapped his beloved son's face hard. "That's fire element spirit pearl. Such an important thing. Why don't you come back to discuss with me first? Now Bai Sha is dead and you didn't get the spirit pearl. You. How do you want me to explain to the sect elders?" Feng Tian's domineering complexion turned to blue and white from time to time. A sore sweetness rose from his already burning chest, and he spat out blood again. "Father! Don't call me father!" Feng Tianba said fiercely with a trembling body. "You two animals are killing me purposely." "I. Quickly say who condensed the fire element spirit pearl." "It is Ouyang Haoshuan of Jinling country. Pass down my command immediately. Find the traces of Ouyang Haoshuan at all costs. For all the inner and outer disciples, as long as anyone can find Ouyang Haoshuan, he will get an advancement pill. Do it now." "Yes, father." Feng Yunjing helped his father to lie back on the bed. He closed his eyes, covering the shame and anger in his eyes. "Whether it is Shiyu or fire element spirit pearl, I will definitely get it. Definitely will. Qingxia sect." At this time, in the hall of Qingxia sect, the master, great elders and cadres all gathered together, and each face was complex and dignified. What do you all think about Lu Li Sec's massacre? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. I thought for a whole night last night, but I really can't think of any force in Miluo continent today that can destroy Lu Li sect. At least we Qingxia sect can never do it. As the sect master heard this, he frowned instead. He sighed. "But I'm afraid the Feng family won't think so. Now at Miluo continent, the only one who can compete with Feng family by force is our Qingxia sect and Shin family. If the Feng family can't find the person who destroyed Lu Li sect, it is very likely that they will suspect us Qingxia sect. This is exactly what we are worried about." Another elder frowned tightly, clutching the beard on his face. "Feng family is already afraid of our Shin family. This time Lu Li sect is exterminated. Their loss is heavy, so they are afraid that our Shin family will grow bigger. They monopolize the medicinal pills to make us run short on money. Now even if we didn't do it, I'm afraid they will put the blame on us. They can also cut off the source of medicinal pills for our Qingxia sect with a justified reason. What should we do? If there are no medical pills, how can our disciples advance and cultivate? Is it that we have to beg for mercy from the Feng family? In your dream, didn't you see the video circulating in the black market today? How good can the Feng family be to bring up such a shameless daughter? We definitely can't compromise with the Feng family. Yes. We have long displeased with the Feng family's doings. There was a lot of discussion in the hall, and they all looked worried. Most of the people in the Shen family were traditionally stubborn and just, so they were naturally displeased with the petty means of the Feng family. However, now the weakness of their sect was in the hands of others. If they didn't compromise, they would give up on their disciples' future. While everyone was depressed, a disciple suddenly took an inscribed jade slip coming in. This was a message from Shensun, through the unique flying eagle of Qingxia sect. Why did Shensun send a message at this time? Moreover, he and the group of disciples who participated in the big hunting match should also be back. They hadn't back yet, but Shensun sent an inscribed jade slip instead. Did something wrong on them? The sect master took over the inscribed jade slip and used his divine sense to read it. Suddenly, his original calm face suddenly changed. He suddenly stood up and stared at the disciple as he said in a trembling voice, Is this true? The disciple was taken aback, and the elders of the whole hall were taken aback by his voice. Everyone looked at the sect master together. The sect master took a deep breath and said, Is there anything other than the inscribed jade slip sent by Flying Eagle? The disciple suddenly came into his sense and nodded quickly. Yes, there is. There is also a storage ring. I wanted to say that just now. The sect master grabbed the storage ring. When his hand swept, the items in the storage ring appeared in front of everyone. That were jars of medicinal pills. The sect master took a medicinal pill and smelled it, then he tasted it again. His narrowed eyes suddenly widened as he exclaimed, Upper-grade medicinal pills. These are really all upper-grade medicinal pills. The elders were a little bit confused by the sudden change in front of them. How can Shensun send so many medical pills? And these are the top-grade third-grade medical pills? So many medicinal pills, where did Shensun get them? The sect master smiled, revealing the delight in his eyes. He passed the inscribed jade slip to the elders. After the elders read the jade slip, they all showed shocked expressions. Is Shensun saying the truth? Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. Isn't all the medicinal pills here, and we will be supplied with 10,000 third-grade medicinal pills every year in the future. That is 10,000. Isn't that mean that we no longer have to be afraid of Feng family's coercion? The sect master was pulling his beard as he said with a chuckle. It's not just that we don't have to be afraid of the Feng family. I'm afraid the Feng family needs to be afraid of us in the future. Hehe. Sun Air and Chua Air really made a big contribution during this trip. In the next period of time, Hushi entered the non-stop cultivation and pill refining time. The 4th grade fire attribute cultivation method that she just got was like a timely help for her. With the fire attribute cultivation method for her cultivation, her fire spiritual power could be improved. This way she could refine pill faster, and she could also produce medicinal pills of a higher grade. While practicing fire attribute cultivation method, Hushi once again discovered the benefits of Maha inheritance. A 4th grade cultivation method that a person might not be able to fully understand the principle of the spiritual power operation after studying for a month. She actually understood it with just one night due to the blessing of Maha inheritance. After a month of cultivation, her cultivation soon reached the completion of the meridian stage. She was only one step away from the gold core stage. She only needed an opportunity to condense the cyclones in her dantian into a gold core to break through her current cultivation. Moreover, the peak of the gold core stage was simply not her opponent with her current strength. She was initially a mortal who didn't have any cultivation, but she used less than a year to reach the completion of the meridian stage. Ordinary people needed more than a dozen or decades of hard work, and she actually achieved it in a few months. If people got to know about her speed and advancement, all the martial artists would be dropping their jaws. When Hushi fully understood the fire attribute cultivation methods, Hushi began to try to refine the 4th grade medicinal pills. Little Egg tilted his small head. watching the fast hand movement of Hushi beside him, his big eyes flickering, showing that he was very focused. At this time, the light golden spirit fire released by Hushi had become golden red at this time, and the spiritual power was much stronger than the original. After half an hour, Hushi's forehead sweated, but finally, a burst of fragrance spread from the furnace. The 4th grade medicinal pills had been successfully refined. Hushi lifted the furnace cover and felt a burst of fragrance. This time she made the 4th grade spirit healing pill, which was the simplest of the 4th grade medicinal pills. Before she had the time to take out the medicinal pills, Little Egg had grabbed a bunch and put it into his mouth. The little mouth was full, and his mouth was chewing with difficulty like a little squirrel. There was also an unclear voice in his throat. "It's delicious." Hushi couldn't help laughing. It's just that there weren't many pills in this furnace. There were only 70 or so in total. Now that Little Egg ate a quarter by just one grab. It looked even more pitiful. Hushi grabbed a medicinal pill and stuffed it into her mouth, muttering, "Why, Little Egg can refine so many pills every time, but I can only refine dozens of pills. This is really unfair." However, as soon as she swallowed the medicinal pill, her complexion changed. At almost the blink of an eye, the medicinal pills that entered her abdomen quickly dissolved in the dantian and spread everywhere in her body. The originally dried spiritual power was filled up without any pause, and she didn't need to use spiritual power to activate it. Hushi was dull. What's going on? Not to mention this rich spiritual power and purity. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. She had never heard that the 4th grade spirit healing pill could be absorbed instantly after consuming without even activating it with spiritual power. Wouldn't it be comparable to Joyo spirit spring water? Moreover, she does not dare to take 9th secluded spirit spring water in front of other martial artists. Even if it was a diluted spirit spring water. She was also cautious as she was afraid that the others would covet on it. But the 4th grade spirit healing pill was different. She could take it out anytime and eat it as a jelly bean. Wasn't that mean she didn't have to worry about exhausting her spiritual power after fighting with someone, because she could instantly replenish instantly at any time? However, what disappointed Hushi was the spirit healing pills, which were refined by Little Egg. Although he could still produce thousands of them at once, the pills no longer had the effect of instant recovering spiritual power. This was probably the disadvantage of mass production. Little Egg was even more disdainful of the medicinal pills he had refined, and he ran over to secretly eat the medicinal pills that Hushi refined. In the end, the Hexus was helpless. "Little Egg, if you eat it like this, how can Mom use these pills to earn money?" Little Egg held a dozen of 4th grade of spirit healing pill in his hands, and he said with an unwilling and crying face, "What is money? Why make money? Mom, this is delicious. Little Egg wants to eat it all. I don't want to give it to others." Hushi said with a smile, "I need to earn money to heal Aunt Little Purple and Little Cow, and to let Little Dragon advance. I need to earn money to give you a good meal every day. Be good. I will refine more delicious medicinal pills for you in the future." Okay, Little Egg reluctantly handed back the medicinal pills to Hushi, and he still remembered to remind her, "Mom, you can't lie." Hushi smiled and took over the medicinal pills. As she prepared to put these remaining dozens of pills into a porcelain bottle. When she looked back, she was shocked to find that the dozens of medicinal pills just above the furnace were all gone. She leaned forward in surprise, only to find a chubby Little Cow lying beside the furnace and chewing the medical pills in his hand. The green bean-like eyes flickered, telling an unspeakable enjoyment and excitement. "Little dumb cow, you are finally awake." Hushi was delighted instead. She walked to the other side of the furnace. "How do you feel? Do you feel better?" Little dumb cow raised his head and looked at her foolishly, showing a somewhat silly and cute smile. Then his eyes turned and looked at Little Egg by the side. In an instant, the green bean-like eyes burst into a brilliant light. He sprinted straight toward Little Egg like an arrow. He stuck out his long tongue and licked Little Egg constantly. He also held the medicinal pills he had just stolen in his paws, and carried them to the front of Little Egg to flatter him. Little Dumb Cow had the look of, "Please enjoy it. Quickly praise me." Little Egg cried out loud. He instantly forgot about the scene where Little Dumb Cow rescued them previously. He crawled onto Hushi, held her neck, and refused to go down. He kept shouting in his mouth, "Ugly cow, you must not lick me again, otherwise I will let my mom throw you out of the void." "Whoa, Mom, he is indecent to me again. He even steals your medicinal pills. I don't want to befriend with Little Cow anymore." The little golden dragon who had been cultivating in the spirit spring was awakened. Hearing the cry of Little Egg, he rushed over and spoke to Little Dumb Cow in a condescending manner. "Stupid cow, I warn you. We spiritual pets have the order of arrival. Although your strength is the strongest now, you are the last who joined our master, so you are all our subordinate. You have to listen to us in the future. You are not allowed to bully Little Egg, otherwise we will beat you." Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife/ to read the latest chapters for free. On the side, Purple Abyss Vine soared into the sky and swayed in the sky. She looked at Little Dumb Cow with a threatening gaze. Little Egg shook his fist in Hushy's arms and shouted, "We will really beat you." Little Dumb Cow looked at them in a silly manner. Then he ran to Hushy's feet with short legs, spinning around her excitedly. The dumb cute cow with slow reaction didn't understand that the bosses in the void were threatening him. Hushy looked at the group of little guys, only to feel a headache. She always felt that her own void would only become more and more chaos in the future. When she thought that, the back of her head started to hurt again. Because of the cooperation plan proposed by Hushy, Shun Sun and several disciplines participating in Big Hunting Match stayed in Yanjing City. In order to obtain medical pills from Hushy easily, their Qingxia sect decided to set up a branch in Yanjing City as a window for the cooperation with Shengda Hall. The person in charge is the elite discipline of several gold core stages participating in the Big Hunting Match. In fact, Qingxia sect had branches in many places. After all, a sect also needs income to feed so many people. It was just that Jinling country was too small, and it lacked resources. Plus it was previously monopolized by Feng family, so Qingxia sect never considered setting up a branch in Yanjing City. But now, it was clear that Yanjing City would become one of the main sources of income for Qingxia sect in the future. Shunsun also didn't know whether to cry or to laugh when she received the message from the elders. The elders attached great importance to this cooperation. Not only they sent a large number of elites to Yanjing to assist in cooperation matters. A few elders even wanted to visit Yanjing City in person, letting a nascent soul stage elder sit in Yanjing City might scare the Jinling Emperor, Shangguan Wenji, to death. Moreover, it would make the Feng family be wary of them. Even Shun Sun himself had to go back after reaching a cooperation agreement. Fortunately, Shun Sun's timely communication stopped them and prevented them from acting rashly and inadvertently alerting the enemy. Only then the elders dispelled these thoughts. However, this also showed how much attention Qingxia sect had paid to this cooperation. As Shun Sun was lost in his thought, he heard the indignation voice of his niece. "Where did the bastard, Gulu Feng, go? Yesterday he dared to say that my moves are not right. I want to see how powerful he is. Fellow apprentice Chun, you must teach him a lesson for me. Don't let him ruin our Qingxia sect's majesty." With this said, Shen Qingchua had already entered the room. When she saw only Shun Sun in the room, she couldn't help but pouted. "Uncle, did you see that guy, Gulu Feng? Why can't I find him anywhere?" Shun Sun couldn't help holding his forehead. "Chua young Master Gu is very busy. He has a lot of business to do every day. How does he have the time to fool around with you?" "How am I fooling around?" Shen Qingchua said angrily with her small nose wrinkled. "He obviously looked down on me from the beginning. He always ignores me when I talk to him. I don't think he is that great. Isn't he just a subordinate of Brother Shiyu? How busy can he be?" Before Shin Sun could speak, a clear and steady voice came from the door. "Gu Lufeng is not my subordinate. He is my friend and brother." "Shiyu." Brother Shiyu. Seeing He, Shen Sun and Shen Qingchua were both happy, and they stood up quickly. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. During this time, Shiyu asked Shi-san to send many upper-grade medicinal pills, but she always disappeared. Shen-sun guessed that he was busy helping his master to refine pills, but now that he saw Shiyu again, he was a little uncertain. Shiyu, has your cultivation improved again? When Shen-sun asked this sentence, he couldn't help but sigh. How long has this Shiyu been separated from us? Has it been a month? Her cultivation is improved again? At this point, she has already reached the peak of the foundation establishment stage, and she almost enters the meridian stage. With such qualities and talents, I can't even find anyone like her from the talented cultivators among Qingxia sect, right? What's more, he is still good at pill refining and medical skills. If I can snatch this kind of talent back to Qingxia sect. I was just enlightened a little. He simply brushed her cultivation's matter off. She just looked like she was at the foundation establishment stage on the surface. If the others knew that she almost reached the gold core stage, She took out 2 palm-sized porcelain bottles and handed them to Shen-sun. Elder Shen, I want to give these 2 bottles of medicinal pills to Qingxia sect. I hope they can help you. Shen Qingchua wanted to get the things in Shen-sun's hand to take a look. Then she said, Brother Shiyu, why you only give my uncle? What about me? I am also very good to you. She laughed, and she took another bottle from her arm and threw it to her. She said with a smile, I refine this just for fun. It doesn't help much for cultivation, but it is still a nice pill. I will give this to Miss Shen. Shen Qingchua took the medicinal pills and opened the bottle with excitement, but there was no spirit and fragrance coming from the pills. She suddenly frowned and said, Brother Shiyu, how can you be so mean? Why do you give me these medicinal pills without spiritual power? What are these medicinal pills? Youth retaining pill. Hushi's answer was simple. After taking it, you can maintain your appearance for 100 years. It really is not a rare thing. Youth retaining pill. As Shen Qingchua heard the words, she couldn't even speak properly. Her hand holding the pills was trembling. God. Youth retaining pill. This is the youth retaining pill. Brother Shiyu actually gives me a bottle of medicinal pills that many women dream of in the immortal realm. He even said that it is not a rare thing. Shen Qingchua felt that her head was a little dizzy. She looked at the medicinal pills bottle in her hand and pinched her face, seriously doubting that she was in a dream. At this time, Shen-sun suddenly exclaimed, What are these medicinal pills? He said with a smile, These 2 bottles are the 4th grade spirit healing pill and 4th grade meridians cleansing pill. Spirit healing pill can instantly recover spiritual power, and you don't have to absorb it with spiritual power. For martial artists at the gold core stage, it can recover 100% spiritual power. Nascent soul stage martial artists can only replenish 1/3 of their spiritual power. As for meridians cleansing pill, it is mainly to remove impurities from the martial artist's meridians and expand the meridians to accommodate more spiritual power. I don't know how effective it is, even the name was decided by Shi-san. The best quality pill. This is the legendary best quality pill. This was Shen-sun's first time to see the best quality pill. His mood could hardly be described in words. When he just took the 4th grade spirit healing pill, the feeling that his meridians were instantly filled with spiritual power seemed to remain in his heart. With such medicinal pills, he could almost be invincible in battle. Please go to https://www.novelupdates.cc/ The King of Hell is Genius Pampered Wife / to read the latest chapters for free. You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.